there are more nerves and more signals traveling up from the gut to the brain than the brain down to the gut.
Food directly linked with mental health and performance. How much does food have an impact on your mental health overall?
So if we were having this conversation 5, 6, 7 years ago and I said it has a huge impact, you would laugh me out the room. But things are changing now, and there is evidence to suggest that there is a significant link between food and mood. So without getting too technical or boring, for a long time it was considered that the brain, so I talk about the brain a lot, the brain was this separate entity that was just connected to all the organs. It had no real connection in terms of organs didn't affect the brain just told organs what to do. But very recently, in the last several years, we've discovered that actually there are more nerves and more signals traveling up from the gut to the brain than the brain down to the gut. And that's called the brain-gut axis. And effectively, that's important because in our guts, I think I mentioned earlier, we've got 50 trillion organisms that manufacture vitamins, neurotransmitters, regulate inflammation. So this is going to sound a bit weird, but actually for the body internally, the first exposure it has to the outside is inside the gut in terms of the immune system. So when we consume food, the immune system has to make a decision. It says either, actually, yeah, this food is fine, there's nothing nasty here, we're safe. Or it says, shit, we've got a problem and we need to tell the brain straight away. And the brain can initiate changes and the immune system can react. And that is important because if we consume junk foods, if we consume a lot of alcohol, if we've had a lot of antibiotics over a long period of time, if even we experience a huge amount of stress or even acute stress, that can change and interfere with the signaling between the gut and the brain. And effectively, you just said, you are what you eat. We are what the food that we eat affects what we think, no doubt about it, because when we consume food, it's information. Food is information, and it affects everything in the gut and the immune system, which in turn affects the brain. There is a huge relationship, huge connection. And again, I'm a little bit ahead of my time. Without sounding arrogant, I don't want to sound cocky, but a lot of what I say is still quite niche, but it's really going to come out over the next few years. For a long time, there's been focus on the gut-brain axis, but actually there's a huge connection between the gut, the brain, the immune system, and the liver. Those four work really, really intimately together. So again, to answer your question, food has a huge impact because it interferes with the signaling between the brain and the gut.